Let's go to Vince Cable. Vince, I mean, I would say 148 of his own MPs voting against him. That's not a good night for Boris Johnson, surely.
No, it's not a good night, except he has survived, and we know that this, very unlike the Theresa May dissidents, who were united, knew what they wanted, and were very organised and committed. His opponents in his own party are very fragmented. There's no clear alternative. So he has survived, and I would expect he will continue to survive. It may be bad news for the country. I think it's good news for Keir Starmer and Ed Davey. I mean, they've now got a weak,
so much to go at,
they've
right?
got a wounded opponent now.
I mean, Ed Davey's emerging as the sort of knight in shining armour of British politics, isn't he? The only untouchable. He's not been tarnished by Partygate at all.
Well, indeed, yeah. I mean,
Isabel, give me a snapshot reaction to this result.
I think it's the worst possible result, actually, for the Conservative Party, certainly for the country. A great result for the Labour Party, because this agony will go on and on and on. Any idea that this has somehow put the issue to bed is absolutely for the birds. Think of all those people that have publicly come out today within the Tory party for the first time, blistering letters of no confidence. You can't take that away. They've put it in writing. That's not going to suddenly kind of evaporate because there's been some kind of consensus. There isn't a consensus here. It's just a majority, and not a good one at that.
Grace, you know, it seems to me, if you were using a shipping analogy, the boat has been holed, and we're just not quite sure how quickly it's going to tumble to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said before, Boris could quite easily, well, not easily, but he could conceivably stumble through this. He could protect himself. He could basically just carry on as though nothing has happened, get to the point of the next election, be confident in the fact that there's no clear successor to replace him, that, as Vince was saying, that his opponents are not united. Whether or not this does actually end up being good for the Labour Party is, I think, a big question here, because we're going to have effectively several years of non-government. It's like all the news is going to be confined to what's going on within the Tory party and then the stuff that they chuck out to keep us busy chatting whilst they go about their business. The question is, can Labour construct a narrative about where we should be going? Because Keir Starmer has not done that effectively thus far. So unless he can actually say, what should we be doing right now? Where should we be going as a country? How should we be solving the cost of living crisis? Then it's not actually going to benefit Labour. We could end up going back to a situation like we had before 2018 of just hung parliaments and constant kind of procedural...
I mean, if you are Labour, though, you might be thinking to yourselves, let's just keep Boris there, because that might be the best chance we ever win in the election.